Hey Cougars, it's Mrs. Belatash, and I want us to return to this chart that we made. We were keeping track of the hours of sunlight in each month, and we picked a particular day, and this is the hours of sunlight in Los Angeles. So in January, there was 10 hours and 17 minutes. Every single month, it got more light until it started to get shorter. And now, in November 21st, it was 10 hours and 14 minutes. So, when we had more light, it got warmer. Now that we have less light, it's getting colder. So there seemed to be a direct connection between the amount of light that we get from the sun and the temperature. Remember, we're also keeping track of the weather. So today is Monday, November 23rd. It's during Thanksgiving break. And I'm at school, and guess what? It's sunny, but it is cool. It's not very warm. I wonder if there's a connection we can make to the hours of sunlight. Okay, so remember to keep track of the weather. The last time we were together in science, we talked about why we have day and night. Day is just when that part of the earth faces the sun. I'm using my overhead projector to represent the sun. It's like a model of the sun. And the light from the sun travels and it hits the earth. So the part that's facing the sun has day. But the part of the earth that is away from the sun, that's facing away from the sun, that part of the earth is in a shadow and it is night. Now, every single thing in space, all of the other planets, all of the moons, also have part of themselves facing the sun and part of themselves facing away from the sun. So every single object in space has a day and a night. Now, there is something that orbits the Earth. It goes around and around the Earth, and it's called the moon. And the moon looks like it changes its shape. But that's because we see different amounts of light and darkness on the moon. So let's learn some more about the moon and its phases. Anyway, this is a book called Many Moons, and it is written by Rami Kuljian. Many Moons. Night after night, the moon comes out to play. On this night, Matthew thinks the moon could be a bow for his arrow. Do you see how the moon is really a big ball, a sphere, but only a little bit of light is showing on this part of the moon. We say that is a crescent moon. On this night, Gerald wakes up with a craving for bananas. Oh, look! The moon is getting bigger. When the moon gets bigger, we say it is waxing. On this night, the moon smiles at Naomi, and she smiles back. So it's getting bigger still, right? It is still waxing. On this night, John eats half a wheel of cheese. So now it looks like a half of a moon. Half of the moon has light, half of the moon is dark. And as you guys know, that dark is just a big shadow. On this night, Jenny the hen lays her egg. Oh my goodness! It's kind of an oval. That's an interesting shape. Boys and girls, once the moon gets bigger than half, we say it is a gibbous moon. On this night, the moon is like the sun, so big and bright that nobody can sleep. It's so beautiful. But boys and girls, the moon does not make its own light. The moon is like a mirror. It reflects the light from the sun. This is called a full moon. On this night, Holly the owl keeps watch with one keen eye. Now, boys and girls, do you see it's starting to get smaller once again? And the light is going to go on the other side. Okay, so before the darkness, the shadow was on this side and the light was on this side. Now it's going to go the opposite direction. The shadow is going to be on this side and the light is going to be on this side. This is now, it's getting smaller, so we say it is waning. This is a waning gibbous moon. On this night, John finishes the other half of cheese. So now it's getting smaller, it's waning, and it went from a gibbous moon back to a half moon. This is the third quarter. On this night, Edward makes a batch of warm croissant. I like a croissant for breakfast sometimes. And a croissant kind of looks like the shape of this moon. It is a waning crescent. On this night, Isabella decides to cut her nails. And now with their little tiny slivers, the moon is almost gone. We can hardly see the moon at all. On this night, the moon goes to bed and everyone sleeps. So now it is completely dark. Boys and girls, when it's completely dark, it's called a new moon. And that's when the moon phases start all over again. New moon. And you can see the entire progression of moons. It goes from new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, and then it starts all over again. Now I want to figure out why the moon appears to change its shape. And to do that, we're going to use a little model. So this light bulb here is going to represent the sun. The sun gives us light and heat. My head is going to represent the earth. And this ball is going to represent the moon. Now, light and dark, light and shadow. Do you see that half of the moon is lit up with light and half of the moon is in a shadow? That's what happens all the time. The moon is always half light, half shadow. But we don't always get to see it from where we are on Earth. So I'm going to do a little experiment that helps you see the different phases of the moon and why we see them on Earth. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so boys and girls, so first of all, there's the sun, very bright, and I'm going to put the moon in front of it. Oh, look at that. Now, when I look at the moon and it's sun, moon, and then my head is the earth, I only see the back of the moon. The moon is in a shadow, and it is called new moon. Now the moon is going to start to orbit the earth, and when that happens, it's starting to reflect some of the light. And from Earth, I see a crescent moon. Now, as the moon continues to orbit the Earth, from Earth, we see that the moon is half light, half shadow. And that is called first quarter. Now I'm going to keep turning, and it looks like it's almost a full moon. It's not a full moon yet, but it's getting to be a full moon. We call that a gibbous moon. Now, I'm going to go to a full moon. Now the moon is fully lit up. Full moon. Now, the moon continues to orbit and it's starting to get a little smaller. We call that a waning gibbous. Now we're back to a half moon, third quarter, and then we see a crescent moon, waning crescent, and we're back to new moon. So it goes new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, new moon. First graders, this has been a very busy day. We learned so much today. I don't really expect you to memorize the names of the phases. It might be good to know crescent moon, gibbous moon, full moon. It might be nice to know that waxing means to get bigger and waning means to get smaller. But really what I want you to know is that every planet, every moon in space has a day and a night. A night is just a big shadow. All right, now there's an extra video that you can watch. Oh, it is so much fun. I use Oreo cookies to help us remember the phases of the moon. It's extra, you don't have to do it, but it is a delicious experiment. All right, see you next time, Cougars.